Hi everyone and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use the phrases there is and there are to talk about how something exists. First, here's how we can ask questions using there is. Is there a cafe nearby? Is there a cafe nearby? Now, we use the phrase there is or there are to talk about the existence or the presence of something. So to ask if a cafe exists nearby, as in whether there is a cafe present nearby, we can ask, is there a cafe nearby? The question begins with the verb to be, and then we have there. The verb to be must agree with the subject, which comes after there. And in this question, since the subject is a singular noun, a cafe, we use is. However, for plural nouns, we would use are. So we would ask, are there cafes nearby? Are there cafes nearby? When we use a plural subject, we are of course asking if there is more than one cafe nearby. But in general, the meaning of these two questions is very similar. We are simply asking if a cafe or cafes exist nearby. Let's take a look at some more example questions. Is there a train station nearby? Is there a police station nearby? Are there restaurants nearby? Are there bookstores nearby? Okay, so let's do a speaking practice of these questions. Is there a cafe nearby? Are there cafes nearby? Is there a train station nearby? Is there a police station nearby? Are there restaurants nearby? Are there bookstores nearby? Great effort, well done. Let's now take a look at both the positive statement and the negative statement of there is, there are. There is a cafe. There is a cafe. There isn't a restaurant. There isn't a restaurant. The structure of both the positive and the negative statements are quite simple. For positive statements, we say there is or there are, depending on the subject that comes next. And after that, we state the subject, which in this sentence is the singular noun, a cafe. When we speak, we often contract there and is and say there's. So we say there's a cafe. However, we do not contract there and are. We always just say there are. For negative statements, we say there is or there are not, and then say the matching subject to the verb to be. When we say these sentences, we often contract is or are with not. So we usually say there isn't a restaurant or there aren't restaurants. Quite often, when we say there aren't plus a plural noun, we use the word any and say there aren't any restaurants. Lastly, when we answer questions like is there a cafe, we often drop the subject and just respond by saying yes there is or no there isn't. Let's take a look at a few more example sentences. There is a hospital. There are shops. There isn't a police station. There aren't any bus stops. Okay, so let's now do a speaking practice of these sentences. There is a cafe. There isn't a restaurant. There is a hospital. There are shops. There isn't a police station. There aren't any bus stops. Excellent job, well done. Let's now do the final quiz. In the final quiz, you will see sentences with blanks, and you have to say the correct sentence by filling in the blank with the correct words. After you have said the answer, you can listen to the correct sentence. Okay, so let's begin the practice. Is there a train station? Are there cafes nearby? Is there a bookstore? There is a library. There are schools. There is not a park. There isn't a park. There is not a police station. There isn't a police station. Fantastic effort. Well done. Okay, so in this lesson, we learned how to use the phrases there is and there are to talk about the existence or the presence of something. As always, next we have a practice lesson, so do make sure to take that lesson for more speaking practice. See you soon again. Bye bye.